Happy 11/11, everybody. Welcome to 11/11 Unified's interview with Tsunami Diamond. I'm so excited to speak with you, brother. Tsunami is a leader in the conscious community. I like to call him an awakened leader. And we're going to be speaking with him about his Ascended DAO, his Ascended XR project, and the Royalty Foundation. So, Tsunami, let's start with who are you being in the world?
Who am I being? I am being all that I can be to encompass all that I have been throughout lifetimes that I've came back into remembrance of, and where all of those have led me to now, to be prepared for where we're at this great pivotal change that we're in the midst of here on the planet as we are getting ready to birth the new earth in this great prophesized time. And I mean, I've been focused over the last decade. Pretty much now a decade, since 2012, I decided to literally go all in on helping build a new earth. And I've went through multiple different careers before that, and decided, after awakening more and more to my purpose and my why, that I just need to spend all of my energy and time on helping the planet, because I discovered what was really going on and what needs to be done, which there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but I'm very confident that all of us that hold the different keys of this masterful piece of a puzzle coming together, that it is coming together so divinely and so synchronistically, and especially this year, things are ramping up.
Oh, yeah. Yes, they are. Well, I'm enjoying who you're being in the world. I've been watching you from the sidelines and all that you do, and just so much gratitude that you're here with us today.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for having me.
So, as you said, we're building the new earth, right? And so this year's theme is seeding our new earth. And so I want to know from you what exactly that means for you to seed our new earth.
Oh, to seed our new earth. Well, I'm taking a very holistic approach to the building of a new earth. I mean, about a decade ago in 2012, I got downloaded all these visions of the future and this whole master plan of what needs to be done in order to actually build this new earth, because I don't believe it's something that's going to just magically appear out of nowhere. There is going to be those of us that are actually going to create it and build all the new systems that are so necessary for the planet. And whether that be new education systems, new financial systems, new technology systems, new products that actually serve our greatest good versus being filled with chemicals and harming us or disrupting our energetic light bodies. Or also, other ways that I'm helping seed the new earth is through community and connecting tribes, and or through music. I'm a music artist as well. I have some music out, but I have two albums that are complete that I'm about to roll out, that are all based around building a new earth and the ascension of humanity and all these things. Where whatever it may be, I'm a creator and I love to create in many different ways. So the way that I'm helping seed a new earth is through our everything that we've been building for the last 7 years with Ascended and Ascendia, my organizations. And really, it's designed to help bring together all the pieces of the puzzle necessary, all the communities and leaders across many different industry verticals, in order to start unifying those pieces and come together in a more cohesive manner, where we can really have far greater results unified together versus separately. And this is going to be done through many different layers, both digitally and physically. We're also focused on building new earth locations around the world via our Ascendia eco-futuristic resorts and smart villages. And in technology wise, through our Ascendia XR metaverse, which is being built to be a new Earth metaverse to also
Mhm.
bring together all of these different communities and charities and leaders and educators and experiences into a unified metaverse that is designed to incentivize people to up-level their life and up-level the world, which we're doing that through the game mechanics and the Ascended game of life that we're building within it, that literally you will get rewarded with abundance for taking care of your health and taking care of the planet. Um, and
Love that.
yeah, many other layers that we can dive into as we
Many
progress in
layers.
this call.
Okay. Okay. Well, I would love to talk about the ground level. Let's talk about the soil beneath our feet, right?
Mm,
We recently inherited 2 properties from Andrew's father who passed,
mhm.
and we are creating our private retreat center called Joy Oasis. And Dawn Smith from Kiss the Ground came up to the land, and we really got to walk the land and see what it would take to create a food forest there. And so when you talk about sustainable conscious communities like land projects,
Mm.
tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, yeah. So as I discussed, our project is called Ascendia,
Mhm.
which is being designed to be some of the most highest resonant locations on the planet, where we're really bringing in some of the things that were done back in Atlantis or Lemuria in regards to how structures are built in sacred geometry ratios, or how we're going to be gridding the properties with powered crystal gridding. And
Yeah.
every single layer of these developments are going to be to raise the vibration in the highest resonance. So just by stepping foot on these properties, you're going to be healing and raising your vibration. But also, we are bringing in all sorts of other technologies and experiences for creators to be able to come to these locations, either to visit or to live within the
Mhm.
communities that we're building.
Yeah.
Our locations are going to be minimum 100 acres, ranging up to 10,000 acres plus. So our very first flagship location that we're in the process of starting right now is down in Belize.
Mhm.
So we're starting on the Western hemisphere of the world, but our plan is to have 12 different Ascendias at different key locations around the world.
Yeah.
Belize is an amazing location. It was the home of essentially the capital of the Mayan Empire. So there
Mhm.
is sacred locations all around Belize and pyramids, and it's an amazing country. And we will be bringing in uh, production studios and makers labs and permaculture and food forest, and the
Mhm.
technologies that we have within our portfolio of different like quantum technologies are literally the most advanced things on the planet for energy or water structuring and programming. Or we're also going to be doing algae farm productions, and
Mhm.
a lot of different things to bring forth the most advanced stuff in all of these different factors, so we can not only grow like next level food, far more surpassing organic food that's grown with the proper frequencies,
Yes.
and also remineralizing the soils in very specific ways.
Yeah.
um, we Hmm. As far as one of the other main components of all the locations we'll be building is a very important on health and quantum healing as well. So
Yeah.
we'll be bringing together the most advanced quantum healing centers, as well as spas with our I am activated spas that will exist both in Ascendias as well as outside of Ascendias. That's one of the initiatives under our Lead Royalty Foundation, which is a
Mhm.
508c1a faith-based organization designed to build essentially ascension academies around the world in sacred temple grounds that will exist at Ascendias, but also on their own at different other temple locations. As well as with our foundation, we're working on paving the way for therapeutic use of entheogenic sacraments.
Mhm.
Two of the primary ones being NN-DMT, the spirit molecule, and 5-MeO-DMT, the God molecule. Two
Mhm.
very, very powerful molecules that are also endogenous within our bodies and produced within our brains. Unfortunately, the way society is designed to really calcify and block the pineal gland, most people are not producing it naturally in the way they should be, which it can also be activated and produced through breath work as well, through certain breath work practices, or also dark immersion with doing a dark retreat.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh my goodness. So many different things we can dive into right now. How about, because you were talking about the grid work and how important it is to come into a raw piece of land, essentially, and start from the ground up and truly, we're intentionally doing that up at Joy as well, and discovering the Native American tribes that inhabited that area at the time, and having the elders come and bless the land and perhaps even build a sweat lodge there. And so really honoring the land first, and the locations and how important those are. You spoke to that. And so I want to bring up the fact that you have visited Egypt before. You have gone to different sacred sites. Part of the mission of 1111 Unified is to have groups of awakened individuals at the sacred sites together on 1111, and then filming these ceremonies and sending them digitally and virtually out into the world so that people can experience them. And so I just wanted to really kind of give you the opportunity to share perhaps one or two short stories of your favorite moments at a sacred site, something that was activated within you, or whatever comes to mind.
Okay. Yeah. Well, last 11/11, I was in Egypt. I brought a group of I led a tour of 33 individuals across Egypt, and there was many very, very powerful experiences that happened on that trip. It was actually my first time in Egypt, my first time back in Egypt, because I have very strong ties to one of my past lives in Egypt, which as I've progressed, and even while I was there, that past life was very solidified more and more. Even when I stepped foot back in when we landed in Aswan, right when I get off the plane, the first person that greets me, he's like, "Welcome back to your homeland, Akhenaten." So it was trippy, and there's been so many things since then. And really, what was interesting is it was almost like a shock being back in Egypt in modern times to see how it was now there, and it took some getting used to. But it was a very powerful trip, and I look forward to going back again, and really diving into the land over there.
Yeah. Well, we're going back in 2024, and we'll be there October 24th to November 14th, 2024. So come play with us. Come be with us. Yeah. It culminates on 11/11 at the Temple of Isis. We're actually renting out the island of Philae for a few hours in the evening so that we have the 11/11 moment, 11/11 p.m. on 11/11 at the Temple of Isis with just our group, the private access. So I'm really excited about it. Yeah. So the power that happens when you come to a sacred site, or you come to a piece of property where it's been intentionally built from the ground up with, as you said, the crystal grid, sacred geometry, the frequencies, the energetics, and being mindful of all of those things as you're constructing a community. I feel like when we enter a sacred site, or we enter a sacred ceremonial space, whether it is at a megalithic structure, or whether it's something that's been built in modern days, that it activates something within us, right? And it activates those ascension codes within us, and we begin to remember our past, and across all timelines and dimensions. And I believe that as we begin to remember, that's part of our awakening process. That's part of the ascension process. And so for Ascended Tao, is there like a process that you find or tips that you can share with our audience that is helpful when you're going through that ascension process? I know a lot of us feel ascension symptoms comes up. I spoke with another friend earlier, Vivian Chavot, about this. But in your words, what are some of the ways that, like just tips, ways that you can help us out here?
Yeah. I mean, this is something that's I'm very passionate about, is how to also accelerate the ascension process. And really, I mean, it comes down to a lifestyle first and foremost. You know, how is your everyday lifestyle? Are you going outside and grounding with nature each and every day, taking your shoes off? And really, or doing sun gazing, which is another powerful thing. So grounding is key during the ascension process. That's one thing to mention. It's very, very key to do grounding work, because as we're experiencing these influxes of energies coming in, of high vibrations in this time we're in right now, it's easy to get ungrounded. And then feel more of those ascension symptoms when you start feeling ungrounded. So of course,
every battery needs a ground, right?
Yeah,
We're like
yeah.
energized.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the polarities. Like for instance, you can't just focus on the higher chakras. If you just focus on activating the higher chakras, you'll become unbalanced. You need to focus on activating as above, so below, all sides, right? So of course, how are you treating your temple? What are you consuming? What are you eating only from Gaia's garden and organic and high vibrational food, or are you eating processed, dense food that's going to affect you even more so in not a good way, right? Or what are you consuming in other ways? What are you listening to? What are you watching? Are you watching fear-based media that's going to lower your vibration and cause you more denseness? Or are you consuming things that are going to lighten you and make you feel in your heart center and feel better, right? Also, I definitely recommend taking baths with salts, Epsom salt, Dead Sea salt, things like that. I like doing it at least once a week to really reset my energy center. Of course, for those that feel called to work with different plant medicines, those can be very powerful in different ways. And then frequencies, sound, or different tools. Like I have all sorts of different healing equipment. I have biofeedback devices, scalar machines, rodent coils. I'm usually keeping myself in a very high vibrational field, running different frequencies and things like that, so I can keep myself in a good state and feel centered and grounded. But it's not. It takes work. It takes consistency. Is the key. You know.
It really does. Yeah. I have several singing bowls and a couple tuning fork sets, as well as essential oils. And I really enjoy the sound and the frequency and the vibration. It's so important. I also have a Healy device that I like to use as well. And my mother-in-law gave us one of those foot baths that like pulls the gunk out of the bottom of your feet. And so we have all these amazing tools to assist us in keeping our higher vibration. And also, it really just comes down to, what are we cultivating within? How are we seeding that new earth within? Right? And so if we hold peace in our heart, if we hold love in our heart, then our thoughts dictate our actions, and we'll come from love, we'll come from peace. And so, exactly. What we're taking in is important, and what we're reflecting out is even more important, because that ripples out tenfold and comes back to us as well. So what we feed the field matters. what we send out returns. And so what is it that you desire to have to return to you? Right? Yeah, loving that. So let's dive in a little bit about the digital metaverse, your Ascendia XR. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Yeah. So we originally launched our metaverse back in 2020 for Burning Man MetaBurn is when we launched our metaverse and hosted like 10 different camps and also put on our own camp and had a week long of programming of speakers and performers and sound healing and all sorts. Yeah, yeah. And also at the same time, I also put on an in-person event and rented out this mansion up in LA and had a really amazing experience. And then added another third layer onto it and was producing a pilot for a TV show called Ascended Spaces at the same time.
Well, when you're activated, you get things done, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So since then, I mean, we're right now we're getting ready to roll out really the next evolution of our metaverse in this next phase, which we've really been connecting some of the most advanced technologies, whether that's AI companies or all the other layers. Because I mean, our metaverse is also a Web3 metaverse solution, which we're building our own blockchain, our Ascended blockchain, which is a multi-chain system interconnected with the Cosmos network, which is essentially like a internet of blockchains. But what we're doing with our metaverse, aside from, let's say, the virtual worlds and experiences that don't exist in digital reality, what we're doing very unique with our metaverse is we're going to be building digital twins of a lot of physical locations. So take our Ascendia locations in the real world. We're going to be building digital twins of those locations, where we're going to be able to bridge realities, because our whole technology system is an XR system, which stands for cross reality. So our metaverse is accessible by all devices. It's cross platform, so you can get onto it with a mobile phone, tablet, computer, also virtual reality, but also augmented reality. So next year, augmented reality is about to boom. Apple's about to be coming out with their Apple glasses, and all the other big tech companies are launching theirs. So augmented reality is really the next evolution of technology that we're going to be experiencing, where it overlays digital experiences on top of our physical reality. With what we're doing with creating digital spaces, digital twins of these physical new Earth locations, which aside from ours, we already have many other amazing projects that are either built around the world or are being built through our Ascended Spaces network, that we're going to be building digital twins of their locations as well. So if someone, I'll give you an example of what's possible with that. Is let's say you visit a digital Ascendia in the metaverse, right? Then physically in the physical space, you could show up as an augmented reality avatar and communicate with people in the physical space and vice versa, essentially bridging realities. So we can put on experiences and events and trainings at all these locations. And if you can't come physically, you can come virtually and still interact with the people that are there at the physical space.
Wow. And the people in the physical space are wearing their VR goggles as well?
Not VR. They would be wearing augmented reality glasses. So that way they're not closed off from the world, the area they're in, but they're seeing everything of the Ascendia, but also being able to see digital avatars of people that are visiting digitally.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Because Andrew and I talked about this when we're in Egypt for 2024 and onward, visiting several sacred sites every year on 11/11, was being able to have others there with us in the circle. This is the piece of the puzzle. I love it. Let me ask you a couple questions around this, because my son, he's 7. He's obsessed with Ready Player One and Ready Player Two. He listens to audiobooks, and he's re-listened to those both of those books numerous times. And there's so much around that like so part of what I believe is the new earth is coming back to our roots, coming back to our tribal ways, living in community,
Yeah,
etc. And yet there's this other piece that is kind of pulling us away from that. But what I'm hearing is that they can interweave and play together in a symbiotic way.
correct.
So, yeah, this is fascinating.
Yeah, and with these technologies, we really have two paths lying before us. This is the way, aside from these technologies, this is what we're facing as humanity. Two
Yeah,
different of
yeah.
these timelines, either the new Earth
Mhm.
or this dystopian timeline where people
Uh-huh.
lose themselves to technology even
Yep,
more and lose their
yep,
connection to Earth and nature and
yep.
and all that, right? So this is something
So
I've
how
spent
do we blend them?
well, this is something I've thought about for over 10 years and have been,
Mhm,
and I'm a fan of Ready Player One and all that as
mhm.
well. And really just thinking about how do we keep balance and make sure that people don't
Yes,
get lost in these virtual worlds and disconnected from reality, right?
yes.
So one way we're doing that is through our game mechanics, where we're going to incentivize people for not being in virtual worlds. But I'll give you an example. If you go and spend time out in nature through our game mechanics, you'll get rewarded tokens for spending time in a nature area in the real world, right? So versus a lot of the technology platforms have reward mechanisms to get people hooked to staying on the platform, to get people
Right.
hooked to staying on Facebook and spending as much time as they can and all that. So how this is what we're looking at doing is masterminding. How do we do the reverse opposite? How do we
Mhm,
incentivize them for being out of the system in the real world and also
mhm.
doing things to raise their vibration and raise their health and help the planet? So this will be done through different wearables, which one in the initial phase we'll integrate with certain wearables that can do health tracking and things like that. So if you're doing certain
I
things
see.
for your
Okay.
health, that
Yeah,
you'll get
yeah.
rewarded, as an example, right?
Right.
But um, and that's why I'm so excited about the augmented reality layer of what we're doing,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
that way we can, I'll give you an example. We're having all this whole quest system within our metaverse and game, where other than, well, one type of quest will be almost like a gig economy where people would be able to take on
Mm,
quests and do a task or a job that needs done, or also be able to help a charity as a volunteer and a quest that needs done for a charity, or hey, we have this quest available and we need people to go and help clean up the water here, as an example, right? Or
okay.
spirit quests, that if you want to go and earn some phenomenally rare NFT, you're going to have to go to Egypt and go find it in a real world quest like that, or go to Mount
Yeah.
Shasta and go on this whole
Yep.
spirit quest in the real
Yep.
world to go earn that prize, right?
Got it. Okay. Wow. So cool.
Yeah. And then we're going to be layering. I mean, we're frequency and vibration and all this is very important. Obviously, it's the basis of life. So, um, we're also going to be, we're in the process of creating a virtual quantum healing center, and this will go hand in hand with some of the wearable technologies that we're developing, where it'll have biofeedback systems and frequency treatment systems and scalar and all that. So you'll be able to go into a virtual healing center and get treatments delivered to your wearables, as an example. But
Uh-huh.
also the worlds, the experiences, the environments we want to layer with proper frequencies and tuned sounds and all that. So just by being in these experiences, you are getting these activations or healing mechanisms.
Mhm.
So those are
Mhm.
some of the layers of what we're doing that's much different than a lot of these other metaverses and the path they're going.
Oh my goodness. I honestly, like, my son is really gonna be excited to hear this interview. He really enjoys the VR goggles. We don't let him play on them very often. In fact, it's been like over a month since he's played with it. But he goes in and he does these little like build a robot, or like feed the rabbit. He does like little games, but then he also loves doing like ice climbing in the Himalayas. Like he
Yeah.
goes on adventures. So I know that he'll be really excited to hear all about this. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I look forward to hearing more and seeing how we can weave those live experiences with the virtual, because not everybody can afford to travel, and not everybody is healthy enough to, or not everybody can actually crawl on their hands and knees down this little tiny portal to get to the subterranean levels of the pyramid, right? And
Yeah.
so to be able to bring them there with us, that is just so inspiring. Thank you. Yeah.
Mm.
So I wanted to go into another piece that you had mentioned to me before, and it's the Royalty Foundation.
A lead
So
royalty.
is lead
Lead
royalty.
lead
Okay.
royalty, yeah.
Wonderful. So it's ascension academies and reclaiming sovereignty, building a new earth, how to
Yeah.
fast track the process of it. So let's chat about that for a moment.
Yeah, so with that, I mean, with our membership and the layers we're creating with Lead Royalty as it being a faith-based organization. So,
Mhm.
I mean, not exactly a religion per se, but more the religion is the creation and taking back our sovereignty, which we all are born naturally with, but unfortunately, with the current systems of once we get a social security number and our birth certificate and how we're brought into this whole system, which essentially takes our sovereignty
Mm.
away from us. So
Yeah.
with this part of what we've created, and we're partnered with and partnering with more and more different sovereign nations and indigenous tribes and things of that nature, so we can create a path towards reclaiming our sovereignty as
Yeah.
divine royals that we all are,
Yeah.
right?
Amazing.
So
Mhm.
that's one focus, and then also will be our temple spaces and academies grounds that are designed to put on retreats and trainings for people to come and learn how to unlock their superpowers and step into mastery, and
Mhm.
really bringing together the wisdom of the ages of the mystery schools into this new mastery school, where we can start
Mm.
educating people with the golden keys from all of these different systems, because that's something I've been focused on a lot of my life growing up. My father's a pastor now, but before that he was a Buddhist priest. So I grew
Oh, okay.
I grew up as a preacher's kid, and also learned and asked him and learned about Buddhism, and then from there I've dived into pretty much all the different religions on the planet to really understand them, but also have went through many different trainings in Egyptian mystery schools, and
Mm,
I'm an
mhm.
initiated shaman, and I've went through many different paths to
Yeah.
really search for what are the most powerful keys that lie within all of these different systems, and
Uh-huh.
how do we start unifying and bringing those different keys together into systems now for how do we really start stepping into our highest potential,
Mm,
um,
mhm.
and really start unlocking these dormant abilities that we all have lying within.
Mm.
And very connected with galactics as well, and many different starseed beings and races and councils, and
Yeah.
have dived into and unlocked many remembrances of past lives throughout the star systems, and have dived into many different teachings and teachings of different galactic star races, whether it's Pleiadians, Lyrans, and Arcturians, and all of these different
Mhm.
very amazing star races that are here to assist us in
Yep.
this transition that we're in right now, and in as we're getting prepared to become an intergalactic society as
Mm,
humanity,
mhm.
where
Mhm.
we're very close to having full first contact. Of course, first contacts happen throughout all the history of Earth. Um, but unfortunately, a lot of what's really going on has been
Mm,
covered up or hidden from different governments and things like that, of how
mhm.
much interactions we actually have with extraterrestrials.
Mhm.
Fortunately, a lot of disclosure is coming out more and more right now in this time that
Yeah,
we're
it
in.
is. Mhm.
You have people
Yep.
like Elizabeth April, very focused on
Yeah.
helping lead the way in that, or Dr. Stephen Greer, doing phenomenal work in
Mm-hmm.
regards to the disclosure space and so many others. Um, but I feel we're really getting very close to that time where it's going to be like Star Trek, where there's all these different galactic races here on Earth, or we're also going to be traversing and traveling the star systems, because
Mm.
very, very advanced technologies in order to do so already exist and have for a very long time. Far, far more advanced than these rockets that were being shown by NASA and things like that. So it's very exciting times that we're coming to, and
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I often wonder if it'll be in my lifetime. I really do want to be around for that. I really would like to. I feel like, we've all made a soul contract to be here on planet Earth at this time for a very
Uh-huh.
specific reason. We all have a purpose. And some of us have found our purpose, some of us haven't yet, but we're all on the path of awakening and coming back to the one, to that unifying. And so I want to circle back to the idea of all the research that you've done, the different practices, the different religions or dogmas that you've researched, and taking those golden keys from each one of them, because the great teachers of the world has always taught us about love and compassion and peace and unity. The Buddha, Allah, Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene, it's all the transmission is always about love and peace and harmony and unity. And so each one has its own way of sharing it. And so for me, like I when I meet others of a different a different background, different culture, different religion, religious beliefs, I'm so interested in what they have to share and where they're at, right? Because all of us are going through this ascension process differently because we're viewing it through our own phenomenological world, the world that we create in our own lives. And so I just love the idea of taking the golden keys from each and every one of them and unifying them together. And so you say this is, are you writing a book about this, or is this like a program, or what's the offering? Like, how are we going to receive those golden keys?
Well, yeah, I do plan on writing some books at some point. Started
Right.
mapping them out, and we will be putting together some training courses for sure,
Okay.
digital courses, but also physical courses at our Lead Royalty
Yeah.
Academy grounds at Ascendia's,
Mhm.
um, and across all sorts of experience activations. Definitely.
Okay.
Or also, I have. One of my newer podcasts is called Galactic Guardians. Within that podcast, we bring forth all sorts of different golden keys and dive into all sorts of stuff. So anyone can
Okay.
check that out as well, the Galactic Guardians podcast.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. Yeah. So, Cadence, my son, he remembers things. There was one point I was out in the garden and I was having trouble with something. He's like, "Here, mom, just let me take it. Let me do it. I used to be a gardener in my past life." Right? And he'll say things like this to me. And I asked him about the future at one point, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well, when we're living on our planet," and I'm like, "Our planet? Like our planet where we came from? Like our star seed, like Lyrian, like where we came from?" And he's like, "No, our planet, yours and mine and dad's planet." Like I was like, "Oh, so you're gonna discover a planet that's habitable?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think so." So he's fascinated with space travel. He would like to be a part of the SpaceX program. You have to be 8 to enter it. He's still 7. So I told him, you gotta really keep practicing reading, because you need to know your reading and math to go into like an astronomy course at 8 years old. Ah, but I just love the work that you're doing, and I really appreciate you coming today and sharing with us. So I wanted to ask you kind of one final thing, and then you can tell us how people can reach you and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
What is your message to humanity right now?
Hmm. My message to humanity is hope. Like, there's great hope because there's so, aside from what we're being shown on, let's say, mainstream things, there is so much magic unfolding each and every day of individuals all around the world that are stepping up to help lead the way, whether that's just being a loving soul for their community and emitting love with each and every interaction that you have, or whatever else it may be that is your blueprint to bring to this world. That's the most important thing anyone can do, is really step into, or if you don't know, discover, like seek to discover your purpose, your why. Why are you here? And what did you come to do? And no matter whatever you discover, however crazy or out there or big it may be, where you're like, oh my gosh, okay, well, can I even do this? Is it possible? I'll guarantee you it's possible. And I see that each and every day as I progress. When I first started on this mission 10 years ago, I'm like, okay, I guess this is what we need to do. I don't know how it's going to be done, but I know it's possible. And I know, and I'm going to just stay focused on that. No matter what comes my way, no matter who comes and says that's not possible, you can't do that, get to reality. You got to stay focused, stay on the vision, hold the frequency and the vibration. That's the most important thing. Hold the vibration, because we are like a human radio where we're able to turn this dial to different frequency bands, and that frequency band that we tune to is what we attract. So are we tuning to lower vibration, lower timeline things and getting trapped into fear narratives on the planet? Or are we tuning to the heaven on earth, seeding the new earth with our vibration, with that which we want to visualize into this future timeline that we all have a part to play in?
Let's just breathe that in for a moment. Yes, indeed. The frequency, the vibration. I feel you, brother. We have to start from inside and really hold the frequency of the new earth and what we envision for our communities, for our families, for our children, for 7 generations to come, not just to survive, but to thrive on Mothership Gaia. And so that is the key. And I feel like that is a key that is a unifying key, right?
Yeah.
All those golden keys come together to one key, and the one key is love frequency. Right? When we're sitting in that frequency and we're emanating that frequency, we're attracting that frequency, and it's a reciprocal relationship. So
exactly.
Yeah. Thank you. Sweetheart, how can people get a hold of you? How do we find you online?
I mean, you can find me on Instagram at Tsunami Ascended. You can find me at Ascended.life, or at our DAO website, DAO.Ascended.life, or at leadroyalty.org.
Okay. Wow, that's all of them. You are a man of many talents, wearing many hats, and I bless your path with grace and ease, that everything that you envision, because you're a visionary, you really are, and everything that you vision comes to fruition and just blesses your life for the highest and best good. Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for being here, Tsunami. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you're doing to put on this amazing event.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I really do enjoy it. So I love sharing information. I love having these potent conversations. This is what excites me and inspires me. And I love that it's not just a vision anymore. We're like doing it. Like we're getting to it. We're going to start with the soil. We're going to get healthy living soil on the planet. And it's so important. Yeah. It starts with that. All right, brother. Blessed be.
All right. Blessings, everyone.
Yeah. Take care.